Eisenhower later says that he saw this happen. MacArthur says, I cannot bother with pieces of paper during a military operation. And so he crosses the bridge.
All through the camp were scenes of panic.
My dad says, let's get the hell out of here. The soldiers are going to kill us.
Then troops began to set fire to their wooden shacks. One reporter wrote, the blaze was so big it lit the whole sky. A nightmare come to life. The president looked out a window of the White House in the direction of the fire, then retired for the night.
And the roaring flames sound the death knell to the fantastic bonus army that ends so disastrously in the shadow of the capital of the United States of America.
The morning after the bonus rout, public sentiment took a dramatic turn against Herbert Hoover.
He argued that this was a communist revolution, and there wasn't one bit of evidence to prove it.
If the expulsion needed a human face, it came in the person of Joe Angelo, whose story was published across the nation.
Joe Angelo gets the Distinguished Service Cross for saving Patton's life on the battlefield. The next morning, Angelo comes to the burned-out field to see Patton. And Patton says, take this man away. I don't want to see this man.
Walter Waters quickly faded into obscurity.
The BEF was broken up. The men returned to some city or other, there to roam the streets, hopelessly seeking work or to shuffle in bread lines. There they remain, crying examples not of the need for the bonus, but of the need for a new American system.
So just a few months after the bonus marchers are driven out of Washington, you have a song which is called Brother, Can You Spare a Dime? This song was directly inspired by the bonus marchers.
They used to tell me I was building a dream with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be standing in line?
And it just captured the desperation that was the story of the bonus march.
Say, buddy, can you spare a dime?
On November 8th, 1932, Americans, desperate for change, elected Franklin Delano Roosevelt president.
The first thing that Roosevelt does, he produces something called the Economy Act. The big victims are veterans, disabled veterans.
Still, the veterans kept returning to Washington each year.
FDR knows that he cannot use force against the veterans. He also knows he doesn't want them in Washington, D.C.
Many of the men were sent to work in rehabilitation camps in the Florida Keys.
On September 2nd, 1935, the most powerful hurricane ever to hit the Western Hemisphere hits in the Upper Keys where these guys are located. Several hundred of them are killed.
The government attempted to suppress the news. But one of the first rescue boats to get in carried the renowned writer Ernest Hemingway. In an angry piece, he wrote, "The veterans in those camps were practically murdered." When the public finally learned the truth, opposition to paying the bonus began to vanish. In 1936, war clouds were gathering again in Europe.
Once again, the bonus bill is brought up. It is vetoed again by President Roosevelt, but this time there's enough power in the House and Senate to override the veto.
The bonus bill becomes law, and veterans' tab on World War I is paid in full.
Some 4 million veterans were overjoyed.
So the story comes to an end. These guys get their money, their lives change.
My dad came in the house with 7 $100 bills, and we thought, oh, is that what the bonus is? You know, we didn't know what a bonus was, you know, it's money. After all that time.
On December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor was attacked, and a new generation was called to serve.
During the Second World War, Roosevelt admits World War I veterans' arguments. He will say that soldiers now serving in our Army will have to be compensated for the opportunities they've missed.
What emerged was the landmark piece of legislation known as the GI Bill of Rights, signed into law in June of 1944.
It put millions of people into housing, put millions of people in college, put millions of people into small businesses, and it changed America.
The legacy of the Bonus Army can be seen in all the marches on Washington that have followed. And American soldiers returning from war today expect the government to keep its promises.
The Bonus March was a very visible lesson to political leaders that they did need to do something to respond to the individual needs of Americans.
It tells us about the determination of people to make sure that veterans are recognized for the service that they render to the nation.
In my later years, I understood what it meant. It meant freedom to demonstrate, and it showed America was a free, working democracy.
The March of the Bonus Army is available on video cassette or DVD. The companion book to the program is also available. To order, call PBS Home Video at 1-800-PLAY-PBS.
Once I built a railroad, made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime?
Major funding for this program was provided by the Disabled American Veterans National Service Foundation. Since World War I, DAV has helped veterans recover from the wounds and scars of war. DAV, building better lives for America's disabled veterans and their families. Additional production support provided by Tawani Foundation, promoting the ideal of the citizen soldier at the Pritzker Military Library, Chicago, Illinois, and by the Humanities Council of Washington, D.C.
We are PBS.